This is the problem with game hunting in a town you've never been to before. You never know what is round the corner. And sadly, I'd spent a lot of money already in CX, so I was not prepared for when I went round the corner and found Retro Retreat. This store was absolutely incredible. I was blown away. The first thing I saw when I entered the door was this absolutely huge selection of Disney Infinity figures. I don't think I've ever seen this many Disney Infinity figures in one place. But the thing that really caught my eye was their boxed N64 games. Y'all know by now I have a real soft spot for boxed N64 games, and there was such a good selection in here. There was so many I'd love to add into my collection, and they're in such good condition, especially that boxed controller. That looked super nice. 50 quid I think is a good deal. They also had some of the kind of lower end boxed N64 games, kind of your V-Rallies, your football games. Of course your F1 Grand Prix, always a nice cheap one to pick up if you ever see it. As you can see, £10 there, and it was in really nice condition. They also had loads of loose carts, which I am kind of straying away from picking up the loose carts now, trying to go more for the box. They did have some really nice bits in here. It is probably one of the biggest selections of boxed and loose N64 stuff I've seen for a long while. Talking of Nintendo, they also had a really large selection of SNES stuff, including one of the most yellow SNES consoles I've ever seen, but it was priced accordingly. They also had loads and loads of loose SNES games, which again, I am trying to kind of stop picking up as many loose games, so it was really nice to see some more box stuff, including that big box Super Mario Kart, which I know very little about. So if you know anything about that, please let me know down in the comments below. I was very tempted to pick up NBA Jam box. I can't believe the Chaos Engine is £100, but I think the MVP here was definitely this copy of Lethal Enforcers with the gun. As a light gun fan, that is a thing of absolute beauty with a big price tag nonetheless. Speaking of Nintendo, again, they did have a lot of loose NES games. Again, I am trying to go for the box stuff a bit more, but this would be a fantastic way to boost the collection. Again, big name titles here, such as Jurassic Park, Castlevania. Got some box stuff as well. I was quite tempted again by some of these. Next up, we had the boxed Game Boy Advance games. And again, I don't think I've seen this bigger selection of boxed Game Boy Advance games for a long while. Again, a real mix of titles here, some absolute classics and some kind of cheaper games. So whatever your budget, you could always be picking up something boxed for your collection. One thing I didn't get nearly enough time to go through was the huge selection of PS1 games. This is just a very small selection. One case out of the 5 or 6 cases they had of just PlayStation games. I did have a quick peruse for the PlayStation 2 section, and this jumped out at me. This copy of SOCOM US Navy SEALs, which comes with the headset. I haven't seen this in absolutely years. It was in fantastic condition, and for £3.75 I had to pick this up. I love the oddities added into the collection, especially when we can add them in on a cheap budget, so this one for me was a no-brainer. Again, I know I keep saying this, but this is the biggest selection of this time's strategy guides I've seen for absolutely ages, and some of the titles here, I was absolutely blown away. Like that Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2 guide, that's incredible. This Nintendo magazine with No More Heroes on the cover, that is incredible. Some of these were quite pricey, but I've said it many times before. Some of these strategy guides are only going to go up in value and start to get really expensive. Like, you may think that is a lot of money for a Dino Crisis 2 guide, but I would probably pay that as a collector. It's one of my favourite games of all time, so I'd be happy to pay that. But there were some really cheap guides here as well. Again, I will be coming back to this store and diving in a little bit deeper, as we were racing against time, and time was running out. Retro Retreat had an absolutely incredible selection of boxed and complete consoles. Like, I have not seen a PlayStation 1 box in that good a condition for so long, as well as some oddities like this weird stickered up PlayStation 1. Obviously you had all the more recent consoles, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, a little bit of everything. I think that's the cool thing about this store. They literally had everything from like brand new up-to-date PlayStation 5s to retro, such as this Mega CD2, which one day I will have in my collection. Tons of handhelds. This Master System 2 complete in the box was in really nice condition, and for 85 quid I think that is a bit of a steal. And next to that was this really nice Super Mario World arcade machine. Here we have what I think could possibly be my favourite PlayStation 3 box. The Grand Theft Auto 5 edition of the PlayStation 3 is a thing of beauty. Finally, going through the massive Wii section, I found a game which I haven't seen for absolutely years, Silent Hill Shattered Memories. And you may think £37 is a lot for a Wii game, but that, for this game, is a very, very good deal. If I had not spent so much money in CX earlier in the day, I would have definitely picked this up. I was feeling a little bit regretful. So folks, this was Retro Retreat in Kings Lynn in Norfolk, and trust me, I will be coming back again. I have only just touched the surface of how much incredible stuff was in this store. It was getting later in the day and I was running out of time, and also I was running out of money. So I will be coming back fresh in the next weeks or months, armed with money, with a lot more time, so we can dive a lot deeper in, as there is so much stuff to see in this store, and I want to show you folks all of the amazing stuff they have in stock and add some incredible bits into my collection.